90% of residents of Kilimani, Lavington, Kileleshwa, Yasai, walitoka across the road.
What do
They
you
were
mean?
not born. They
What
were
do you
not
mean by
born
across
into
the
that.
road?
They were not born into that lifestyle.
Okay.
I don't believe a majority of them are so separated from the realities of what's happening.
Now,
So a majority of the people who you will call middle class wanajua reality ya ground. Majority of the people who say they don't know the reality of the ground, watu walitoka kwa ground, wanataka, it might be because of trauma.
Bandio, play us that clip. Just start from the beginning, and then I'm gonna tell you where to stop. Of just some sentiment from a Kenyan journalist, who has some sentiments and thoughts about people from the diaspora. Bandio, twende kazi.
People in the diaspora miss when, as it pertains to politics in their home countries. And I've thought about it for quite a while. And honestly, I genuinely believe that when someone has been in the diaspora for quite a while, I think with time, a lot of people who live in foreign countries, they begin to adopt these foreign ways of thinking. For example, you who've been in the US for quite some time, everyone knows in the US it's quite, it's good guy versus bad guy, Trump versus Biden, Trump versus Hillary. It's always a good guy, Obama, good guy, quote unquote, versus bad guy kind of narrative. Like politics is kind of like a story to them, to a lot of them. But mind you, I'm saying that as a foreigner myself, I'm foreign to the US, so I probably don't know much, but I'm just talking based on what I've seen. But I think on Kenyan ground, it's about much more than that, particularly Kenya. My dad used to talk about it a lot. He used to say Africans, we lack critical thinking when it comes to politicking and governance. But personally, I don't agree. As a person who grew up middle class Kenyan, I believe I'm just as removed from vitu kwa grao as someone in the diaspora, actually.
Pause it there. All right. The middle class in Kenya could be as removed as people from the diaspora. She first talked about, how politics is characterized here, as this versus that, Republican versus Democrat, Trump versus Biden, good guy versus evil guy. And it's kind of a story. And to a certain extent, there's an entertainment element to the politics that's here in the United States. And she also mentioned that her dad at some point felt that a lot of Africans lacked critical thought, but she kind of disagreed with that. But the most profound thing she said is that the Kenyan middle class may be as removed from political realities as the diaspora. These Kilimani boys, these guys who run around quivers.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that because in Kenya we have a tendency of inaitwanga ile tabia ostrich ya kuingiza kichwa kwa mchanga. Yeah, we do have a tendency of that, and we have a tendency of uncooling stuff. This is not cool, this is not cool, and then you avoid stuff. So there's some people in Kenya who deliberately avoid siasa just for the sake of it. But then another thing is that also in the middle class in Kenya, we have this thing in our pride where we usually want to know things about ourselves, right? And I can know about politics because something was trending. Like Kibaki can do something and we're in the bush. So that did jana hapana, and then I ask about it, I go watch news. And remember, Kenya, you're middle class, like they're still, you're interacting with other people. And you get to see. So it's a toss-up. Kuna wale wenye, depending on their day-to-day interactions of life, who get to experience the other side of the road, na kuna wale wenye wako na ostrich syndrome ya kujifunika na kujificha nini kichwa. I don't believe a majority of them are so separated from the realities of what's happening. They might be separated from the realities of labda ajawahi lala njaa ama ajawahi lala kwa nyumba ya mabati ama nini, but at one point that stark reminder of reality in Kenya ni kitu happen very easily. Unaweza kwa hivi uko Kilimani unapiga round upigwe ngeta ushange hili tokea hadi.
Okay. Ruth has something to add also onto that.
Yeah. I think when she says that the middle class might be as removed as the diaspora, I'm going to go back to my example of the solar system I went to buy, lighting, whatever I went to buy. There is a huge chunk of Kenyans who there is, I think the middle class for the most part might not be spending 60 shillings a day to buy something like that. To them, they might maybe split it into 2-3 months, but not an every day for like almost a year, right? So there's a remove of like, I don't understand why I would be paying something daily. Well, if you just saved enough, you'd be able to pay either 1, 2, or 3 times and you're done. So the middle class may not be able to get the entire amount. They might get the entire amount or not the entire amount, but not the day-to-day, payments to afford something. But that then, in that sense, and they will be removed from understanding that, like, kwa ground when you're kowa, like, I don't know whether you sometimes I listen to social media in Kenya and I'm like, it's so, the divide is so big.
Lakini social media gani unaingia? Instagram ama Twitter? Unategemea. Kuna moja ni ya masonko na ingine ni watu ya raia.
Enda TikTok.
Anapenda
TikTok kila mtu.
TikTok.
Kuna kila mtu,
Bana TikTok unajua ni app ya vienyeji.
Ati?
Ni app ya kienyeji. I don't know that.
Ni app ya vienyeji.
Yeah.
Wow.
TikTok.
No, because I want to understand where I live now. And I don't want to be in a bubble. So I'm deliberate in actually seeking information that is different than what I consume, right? So I've made, I could go and buy a fully tailored kitenge somewhere. I go to Nairobi Textile. To get to Nairobi Textile is an exercise by itself. I take an Uber to Galito's opposite Archives, then nashuka, alafu natembea uko ndani, and then I go to Nairobi. That is the first time I did that. I was like, what is this? Like, it's chaotic, right? But like, I've made it because then I'll go and talk to foods and nimeshonewa nguo and I'm like, apa mimi tunafika maybe 5,000-6,000. Person quotes me 2,000-3,000, and at first utakula nini? I want to ask them utakula nini, know. So I've made that deliberate decision to actually try to understand where I live, and so I consume the news and I try to go to buy things from a place I know it's quality, but I nitaenda chini, right? In that, I'm not in a bubble. It's easy to be in the bubble, right? And so I feel like, and then I meet my friends when I tell them I went to Nairobi Textile, they live in Kenya. They're like, what are you doing in town? Unaenda kwa kufanya nini?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
that is very true.
Watu waendage
we don't go to CBD.
No, atuendage CBD.
Right? And they actually think I'm crazy for even venturing out there. But you see, that's what I mean, like, there is a removal from the ground. Because there's somebody who is like, I don't need to go there. I have everything I need where I am.
And if they need it, they have a plug.
They have a plug. Someone will go do that for them.
Yes.
So it's easy to be very removed from the day-to-day hustle of of Kenyans when you have resources to bring the things to where you are. And I think there's that when she says she's equally as removed.
Yeah.
like when I first met with her, we met at Sarit, right? So like we didn't meet somewhere else. So like Sarit is very it's outside of town to start with.
Yeah.
It's very orderly.
Yeah.
It's not chaotic. So it's easy to be removed from other not scenarios, realities.
Yes, absolutely.
Of other Kenyans.
But-
Yeah.
But what? Let me play. Wacha nicheze devil's advocate hapa. 90% of residents of Kilimani, Lavington, Kileleshwa, ya sahi walitoka across the road.
What do
They
you
were
mean?
not born.
What
They
do
were
you mean
not
by
born
across
into
the
that.
road?
They were not born into that lifestyle.
Okay.
Ni watu wamehama.
Across,
Wamekuja
across,
kapata
I think
job
he meant
wame-
across the
Yeah.
river.
Okay.
Yeah, across Uhuru Highway wamehama.
Okay.
So their separation is a deliberate separation, ndio kwa nimeita ostrich syndrome ya kujificha kutaka.
Yeah. Now,
But when it comes to the reality of things of the ground, inakuja kwa nini? I'll give you an example, Ali. Unaona, most people who own houses in slums are rich people who live in Karen, right?
slumlords.
Hata tuseme slumlords, wacha tuwe slumlords, tuweke oja middle class Kenya anafaa kuwa naishi Umo, lakini hapa tumeweka middle class Lavington. But so tuseme mse mwenye anaishi Umo anaishi Kasarani nini hizo mtaa zingine zote, si ndio? Nyumba yenye ana rent, landlord hiyo nyumba anaishi Karen.
Yes.
All landlord Karen, majority of the time kama ni smart, hukuwa anafundisha watoto wake value huko palizo nyumba ziko.
Yes.
Unapelekwa kwa mjengo, unapelekwa ufani, unazoea hiyo nini, unazoea kudeal na staff, unapoa pick up drive na nini, unazoea watu like a good businessman understand his employees to a point whereby hakuangi away from reality employees wake, so that ajue kumanuva anytime wako na shida, akiwasaidia anawakeep loyal kwake.
Okay. Now,
So a majority of the people who you will call middle class wanajua reality ya ground. Majority of the people who say they don't know the reality of the ground, ni watu walitoka kwa ground, wanataka, it might be because of trauma, it might be because of whatever reason. I'm not judging anybody.
yeah. Now,
Right?
yeah. Now, when we talk of our generation, the way I see it, when we talk of our generation, you know, like someone who grew up in Buruburu, someone who grew up in Umoja, someone who grew up in, let's say, anywhere in Islando.
Buru, Doni.
Those were not, I would not consider those people who were what you would call poor today. Those were not poor people.
They are the middle class.
So those guys are the ones who moved from hizo neighborhood zile wako na wakakuja, maybe waka-upgrade, wakakuja Kilimani, Kileleshwa, etc. Now I think the way the economy has flipped and the cost of living, you know, like the affordability of a basket of goods is much lower. You know, like zamani when we were going to private schools like Moi Educational Center, you'd still see people, you know, like able to afford from places that are not considered, you know, like wealthy areas. You'd still see people able to afford those schools. But now, because vile economy imeenda, hiyo level ya umaskini imezidi, you know, and now you're seeing areas like Umoja, solid middle class neighborhood, is being looked at, you know, like some type of way. Siwezi kuishi Umoja.
Who is?
Eh?
Because then I think that person is above middle
Umoja,
class.
so let me tell you,
Yeah.
if in the mid 90s, you could live in Umoja or you could live in Kayole and you're working, you know, like a very decent job in a bank, in a corporate institution, and it was acceptable.
It
You
was.
know, it was very acceptable. But now things have changed. You know, like kama unaishi huko, you know, like it's kind of like been downgraded. Those neighborhoods were neighborhoods where people could afford very decent lives. Watu walikuwa na watu, you know, like especially weekend umoja J, you know, like most households had cars. The people who, you know, like were living, you know, like a solid middle class life, that middle class that we talk about in terms of what lifestyle you can afford, it has shrunk. And now I think sasa watu wamekutana Kilimani ndo wanajita middle class. Kama unaishi huko, yes, kama unaishi huko Kangundo Road, kule kuna vumbi ukiamka asubuhi, you know, like asubuhi even when there's dew kitoka vumbi na kuchapa. So now it's considered, you know, like a different kind of place. Tutarudi kwa hiyo
unajua nini, kuna middle class zingine,
yeah,
where I see that the estates which like you'll find like places Kasio Kimau, Inja Kilimani na nini, you find a nice good house, 5-4 bedroom, 3 nini bedroom. I don't know middle class ukweli.
And they're cheaper than Kilimani. So
yeah,
I wouldn't even Kilimani. You know, I wouldn't consider Kilimani middle class. It's above.
I don't know middle class like I don't know middle class. Like I don't know the real middle class.
Yeah.
With a middle class. But I don't think people have an assumption of like sisi huku America unasema tuko middle class ama tuko working.
America.
Sisi, by the way, whether you like it or not, Mika, tuko either middle ama upper middle. Whether you like it or not, my friend. You know,
more nika tuko working class.
Middle class.
Yeah.
No.
Wait. We are way above that.
You make 6 figures, you're middle class.
We are way above that. You know, like median income, individual income, is I think $40-something thousand in the US.
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo Mika,
and also not everybody makes 100,000, by the way.
By the way, Mika, whether you like it or not, uko either top 15%. And that's something a lot of, you know, like people, Kenyans, because tunapendaga kujifanyaga watu wa ground. That's one thing that a lot of Kenyans, because a lot of Kenyans who came here, they came to college. You know, so you're college educated. Most Kenyans here, at least most Kenyans I know, you know, like around me, are earning 6 figures. So come on and 6 figures, my friend.
You're not. You're solidly in the middle class.
Actually, a majority of the people we came with, I think, kwanza wenye wako biashara.
Yeah.
Wengi wameanza ku branch into 7.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, watu wameomoka mbaya sana.
Yeah.
So mazee nyinyi amko hiyo kategoria mwezi kuanza kujiingiza hapo.